everyone. So welcome back to Rebirth TV. I am Stacy Benton. I am the owner of Rebirth Media Network. And I just want to thank you for coming back and spending some time with me today. I hope you had a wonderful Easter. For anyone who actually celebrates Easter, but also Passover or whatever, um, however you feel when it comes to Easter, Passover, whatever holiday you celebrate. I just hope you had a wonderful time with your family and friends. Definitely, I had a very relaxing day. I am so thankful. It is actually very beautiful today. So it's very sunny. It's very few clouds. So I'm looking right out the window right now, and the grass is getting green. So just a beautiful day. So I just want to thank you back to what we're doing. If you have been following Rebirth TV, I really encourage, if this is your first time, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time, just looking at the videos, seeing what Rebirth TV and Rebirth Media Network, what Rebirth Media Network is all about. And please go back, watch all of the other videos, because it will definitely give you a better insight into what Rebirth Media Network stands for, and also why the company was created, and the main purpose or mission. And so I want you to definitely go back, look at the other videos. But I do want to thank you for tuning in again, or just watching the videos. I know that a lot of times it may be more just conversational, which is very purposeful, because my main objective is for you to get a better feel of who I am, and my story, my background, because it's all about building a healthy, supportive community, but also a supportive connection. So today, I was really just thinking about what I wanted to talk about, what I wanted to share with you guys. Right now, we are in the rebirth experience. We are in part one, which is conception of the highly anticipated novel, Rebirth a Gift. So this is the Rebirth a Gift series, which coincides with the novel, Rebirth a Gift. So we're in part one of conception. And again, I was just brainstorming, like, what do I want to share today? Because I like for it to be very organic and spontaneous. Whatever I discuss or share with you, it's like what I'm thinking at the moment, or just thoughts, processes I may have had over the few days, or when I last just really shared the content with you. So, excuse me if I'm saying a lot of just really overlook it, because again, I don't really have a lot of notes prepared, because I want this to be very natural, organic. I want you to connect to my personality and who I am, because this is how you're going to see, as the series unfolds, it will all be connected. It will all make sense for you, why I'm doing things the way that I'm doing. So the main objective for Rebirth Experience is to really help individuals that have experienced complex trauma, and have actually went through some challenges of post-traumatic stress. It could have formed or progressed into a disorder, but most importantly, we're just dealing with issues surrounding complex trauma and your actual healing process, and the journey you are going through to heal, to recover what you have lost in the process of your own trauma. So part one of conception is really just going back to the beginning of when you first experienced your trauma. And normally that is in childhood. So today I want to kind of just talk about those experiences of your trauma in childhood, and just kind of throw out some other ideas or topics or words that you may have not heard before, or may you have heard before but want more information. Because again, I don't know specifically where you are in your journey as far as healing. You could be just starting, you could be just researching information, trying to gather more knowledge and education and insight on your experiences so that you can now get to the other side of the spectrum, or so you can get to the other side of your journey to completely be healed and restored and be catapulted into your destiny, into the person you've always visioned yourself to be. So this is the entire concept around the rebirth experience. So when it comes to childhood abuse, and I did do some research on this a while, in the past and also recently, and the numbers are very staggering when it comes to the amount of children that have really been impacted by childhood abuse. And it's like over 4 billion children worldwide that have experienced some level of childhood abuse. And I had to take a deep breath there because it's very shocking to me that in such a civilized world that we are living in, meaning that we're no longer in the ancient times, it just really confuses me sometimes, the amount of children that still go through heinous acts of abuse. And we know that that is a complex issue in itself, because most of the times, 9 times out of 10, the parents were also abused or experienced some trauma. So with childhood abuse, it is definitely a generational or intergenerational issue within the family dynamics. And it crosses nationalities, meaning that it is something that can be experienced despite where you were born or what race you were in. And it's a lot similar to women that are abused as well, that may have experienced domestic violence of some sort, interfamily violence. So it is very, very similar when it comes to the root issues or the conceptualization of it. And when I think about childhood abuse, I just really, just from my own personal experience of being in foster care and adopted into a very abusive childhood home, my heart literally goes out to you if you have experienced any form of childhood abuse, because it is absolutely detrimental for a child, and it causes an enormous amount of difficulties as the child develops into adulthood. And these experiences can either transform you into becoming a better person or a better version of yourself, or it can transform you into becoming a very darker, more negative version of yourself. And as I have just really experienced complex trauma myself on many different levels, I have come to the realization that there's a lot of factors that go into play which side that person eventually progresses or grows into when it comes to adulthood. So if you have experienced childhood trauma or childhood abuse, and you're still trying to come to terms with it, my main goal for the rebirth experience is to push you farther into evolving or becoming a better version of yourself. And it is an ongoing process. So where you are now is not going to be where you are in the future if you go through your process of healing. So I want you to take the time and the energy right now to just think about that. Where do you envision yourself in the future? How do you see your future self? And your future self, how you see that, will determine a lot of the decisions you may be making now. So the whole main reasons for the rebirth experience, and going back to the beginning or the foundation, which is the conception of where things begin to tear apart or break apart for you in your childhood. And so now you could be more conscious of how those experiences impacted you and how you want to progress going forward in your healing process. So whatever that vision that you had for your life, if you decide, if you want to go back to school, if that's important to you, if you want to pursue entrepreneurship, if you want to become the best musician or entertainer or writer, author, whatever that dream or that vision you had, definitely started somewhere. And 9 times out of 10, it started, I would say 100% of the time. Usually our childhood dreams can definitely be kind of like a fantasy sometimes, but it's also had some layers of maybe that's what I should be pursuing as when I become an adult. However, there is this childhood abuse or traumatic experience that I have gone through that has hindered my progression, that has hindered my ability to move forward. So childhood abuse is a very devastating experience for anyone. It rips you of your identity. It rips you of or tears away it pulls away or tears down your self-confidence or your ability to build that, your self-esteem. All these aspects of when you're building your character, when you're building your identity or who you really are, is impacted by this childhood event or this childhood abuse that you went through. And if you fail to acknowledge that something happened without judging it, without, and I know this could be difficult because if you've gone through that, or when you've gone through that, there is a trigger, there's some pain, there's some trauma, there's some emotions around that, but you still have to go back and see, how did that impact you? How did that, can you connect the dots? Can you go back and analyze it? Just kind of think about what happened. What was the circumstances around the event that caused the childhood abuse? Did you feel that you were neglected? Was there's abandonment there? Was there a divorce or separation from a primary caregiver? Were you placed in foster care? Were you in an adopted home? Was your parents or parent was never around because of different reasons? Was it because of an addiction? Or did they just have to work very hard to provide and was not able to give you what you needed and you felt neglected or in a place of isolation? So all of these experiences led to how you perceive yourself in adulthood. So the childhood abuse had a significant impact on your life. And if you go back to the conception, which is the very beginning, you will start to see how these experiences impacted you. What was the decisions that you started to make that you may have saw a pattern in as you became an adult? Was a pattern of self-sabotage? Was a pattern of making bad decisions?